Hi everyone, I'm Louanne Saraga Walters and welcome to the August 2018 edition of Living My Wellness Me Life. This is your nutrient personality, and I wanted to talk just briefly about why having an idea of what your potential current state of nutritional deficiencies is important, even if you eat a healthy diet. And I want to start by telling what a diet record analysis is for those of you who don't know, and then we're going to talk about why that is important even with a healthy diet. First, a diet record analysis is a snapshot of a 3-day or a 4-day period when you are very detailed about inputting everything that you're consuming, whether it's liquid or solid food. You're looking at brand, you're looking at ounce, or you're looking at milligram or gram, and you're putting it all into play, and then a nutritionist or an MD or a DO is going to put that through a software program, run it, and tell you what it is based on all of the essential vitamins and minerals. We're talking vitamin A all the way through K, and we're talking all the minerals, through zinc, albumin through zinc. So it gives you a really good idea of where you are. Now, even if you eat healthy foods, we can't really know how much of each mineral and vitamin we're intaking without doing that kind of an analysis. Why is that important? So let's take a look at that. We do go to the doctor every year, right? We have a wellness checkup, hopefully. Hopefully we're given the good to go, or we're given a status update of a diagnosis or a condition that we may have. And at that point in time, that's a current state of health. That's giving us the snapshot of at this point in time, this is, the level of your blood pressure, and it's increased from last year, or better, it's gone down from last year, or you're getting closer to diabetes. So be careful, watch the amount of carbs and sugars that you're intaking, or these symptoms that you're having could be irritable bowel. More, we may run some tests and see if you have celiac or any numbers of things. It's your current state of health. A diet record analysis is actually a precursor to that, and it gives us an idea of if we're deficient in these certain vitamins or minerals, then going forward, and if we continue along this path, then we could be even further at risk for different diseases. Because what we know now, since the year 2000, 2004, the early 2000s, when we mapped the human genome, what we know now is that the nutrition or the lack of nutrition interacts with our genes. What does that mean? Well, we actually have the power to change the expression of our genes based on what we eat. What? That does not mean that we're changing our DNA, but what it does mean is that everybody has been born with a certain amount of what are called SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms, and these SNPs are very natural. Everybody has them. And they're not a guarantee that we're going to get a disease, but they do tell us if we are at risk for developing a disease. In other words, if you have the BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene, you may actually be at further risk for breast cancer. If you have HLA-DQ, you are at risk for celiac disease. If you have ApoE, you are at risk for Alzheimer's. ApoA2 for obesity and diabetes. MTHFR means that you probably are going to have some issues metabolizing folate. But it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed that that's going to happen. If I have ApoA2, then I'm at risk for obesity, I'm at risk for diabetes. And what's interesting is before we mapped the human genome, we used to just simply say, was there breast cancer in your family? Was anybody diabetic? Because we knew that there was a possibility that it ran in genes, but we didn't know how. Now we know that the running of the genes is through this SNP milieu of what we have within our DNA system that is ours and ours alone. But it's not a guarantee that I'm going to get it, because disease actually relies on three things. It relies on genes, what we're born with. It relies on our environment, and the number one factor of that is nutrition or lack of, and it relies on what's called intestinal permeability or leaky gut. As an aside, we have a leaky gut intestinal permeability course coming out with Dr. Taryn Forbes in September, so keep an eye out for that. We'll announce it in September's newsletter. But this middle one, the environment, is the thing that we can control most. Now, we can't control everything. We can't control if we were born vaginally or via cesarean, which affects how much microbiota we actually are born with and set up from our mothers. Through the vaginal canal, we inherit a lot of her probiotic good bacteria. But we can control if we smoke, if we drink, how much we drink. We can control the processed foods we eat, if we eat too many sugars or trans fats or any trans fats, or if we don't get enough of the right kind of mineral or vitamin nutrient that our body needs. So I find this to be extremely empowering because knowing that a diet record analysis done once per year can give me an idea of where I currently am also enables me to change up my diet just enough through whole foods mainly, supplements if needed, so that I can actually arm myself to a greater degree against any of those known SNPs that I may have, potential risks for disease. I can push them further off. I'm building a bigger wall between me and that disease by knowing what my potential current nutritional deficiencies are. And what's interesting too is that a diet record analysis will show us if we are deficient in a certain mineral or nutrient. We also know that depending on if we're on a medication like a statin or high blood pressure medicine or a diabetes medicine or any antibiotic, anything that might potentially disrupt the body's ability to absorb other nutrients, I know that I need to help that certain mineral or vitamin that I'm deficient in increase so that it can compensate for this level of malabsorption caused or deficient absorption caused by the medication or the antibiotic that I'm taking as well. Let's say I'm not on any medications. Minerals and vitamins in general also have an interesting dance that they do between their interactions. We have a fortunate guest blogger for this month, Dr. Deanna Minnick. Dr. Minnick is a PhD, CNS, IFMCP, which is an Institute for Functional Medicine certified practitioner. CNS stands for Certified Nutrition Specialist. And she has been studying for decades how vitamins and minerals, through supplements, through whole foods, interact with medications, interact with each other. And she has this fantastic blog post. And I said, please, Dr. Minnick, can we use this in our August monthly newsletter because it's so pertinent to what we're talking about this month. And that is that certain vitamins and minerals can prevent the full absorption of another vitamin and mineral, or they can help enhance the absorption of another vitamin or mineral. We call that synergistic, working together, or antagonistic, blocking each other. And those are important to know because if you're deficient in one, it can cause you to become deficient in another. For example, here are a couple examples from her post, which is under the Take It Personally section, and it's the vitamin and mineral interaction. So magnesium can improve vitamin D levels. So if you know that you need to increase your vitamin D levels because that was found in your checkup, but you don't have an idea of what your daily intake for your average intake for magnesium is, a diet record analysis can show you. And if you have a deficiency in magnesium, you need to increase that because it will help you absorb more vitamin D. There are also things that vitamins and minerals do to help towards symptoms, conditions, and diseases, and she includes that in her paper. All of this is researched, and actually many papers she's written as well on PubMed through the National Institute for Health and whatnot. She's a phenomenal researcher. But here's another example. Magnesium with vitamin B6 can help PMS symptoms and possibly autism. Magnesium is required to convert thiamine, which is vitamin B1, into its bio-intake form, its bioactive form, we call it. So if you don't have enough magnesium, if you're deficient in magnesium, you may be taking sufficient levels of vitamin B1, but magnesium helps to convert that vitamin B1. So you're not getting enough because you don't have enough magnesium, so you can't convert enough vitamin B1. So you see how this interacts. Dr. Taryn Forbes is our guest doctor on Ask the Doctor this month, and you'll find that also in the newsletter. We do an interview with her similar to this video recording, and she talks about how magnesium can also affect potassiums, our body's ability to absorb potassium levels, and how different types of magnesium can also impact our body's health in different ways. So there's a lot that's out there and a lot to learn, but if we can start off with an annual diet record analysis, that puts the power in our hands to say, how are we going to change this? Now, where would you get one? Well, you can get one through a doctor's office. You can get one through a nutritionist. You can order some online. We also have, through our Wellness Apex Solutions, we have a diet record analysis available. For the month of August, we're offering it 20% off. So if you have the need for that, check that out. I use NutriBase, and I do them personally for you. And then I also give you a list of whatever vitamin or mineral that you're deficient in. I will give you a list of foods that you can use to go shopping so that you can add those back into your diet. But whomever you go to and wherever you go, the important outcome from your diet record analysis is to keep that with you and take that into your annual doctor's appointment. Because as I gave you the example of vitamin D, and maybe you have osteopenia or you're now at the point of osteoporosis and you know that you have been trying to increase your vitamin D. Knowing, for example, that you're deficient in magnesium is important for your doctor to be aware of as well, so that he can say, aha, and take a look at perhaps other medications that may be causing a deficiency in your absorption of vitamin D, or calcium and that calcium vitamin D dance that's so interrelated, which again, Dr. Minnick talks about in her post, Vitamins and Mineral Interactions. So take a look at that. Take a look at Dr. Forbes' Ask the Doctor video. Enjoy whatever you're doing with your diet record analysis, taking back that ownership, taking back the empowerment, knowing what you're eating. And even again, with that healthy diet, you get to see what other foods you might want to add into your diet to help increase your body's ability to absorb. If you're not familiar with any of this and this is all brand new to you, don't feel overwhelmed at all. I recommend, as the nutritionist educator, taking it one step at a time. In fact, I really recommend that you do one action a week so that it becomes a habit. So say, for example, you're really into processed foods and you know you need to cut back on those. Cut out one processed food per week and add in one food from your deficiency record so that you can increase that. And then the next week, take out a different processed food and add in another food that has that nutrient that you might be deficient in, or a different nutrient that you might be deficient in. So just take it one at a time. However you take it, you have the ability to do this. It's back in your hands. It's not waiting to find out if something is broken. It's not going from one annual checkup to the next, hoping and praying along the way. It's taking action now. It's being able to say, this is what I can do, and this is how I can help myself become a stronger warrior in the fight against disease and to uplift yourself towards better health. Here's to your Wellness Me Life.